Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. There's an article from the Crypto Basic which covers perspective from an XRP chart analyst, and this particular chart analyst believes that we are going to be seeing XRP at $5.85. I'll get you the specifics, but certainly a range. And this particular chart analyst has been growing quite a bit in popularity recently, now at a point where I think he's getting closer to 100,000 followers on social media platform X. And look, I understand that this comes amidst some not so fun price action for much of the last 24 hours or so, with XRP getting down as low as 49 cents, though I'll tell you at the outset of the video why I personally just do not care. I don't think that that's sort of indication that there's something specifically wrong with XRP. Here's a headline also from the Crypto Basic. Whale moves 50 million XRP from Crypto.com amid 3.79% price drop. And towards the later part of the video, I do want to touch on this article from the Daily Hodl, which I found very fascinating. It's titled, Bitcoin posed to more than double every year, says Pantera Capital CEO Dan Morehead. Now, Dan Morehead famously stated just a few years ago that if you fast forward, whether it's a decade out, somewhere around there anyway, pretty long time frame, that if you were to look that far out, XRP would be one of the few cryptocurrencies that would still be around, and he's expecting that pretty much everything else goes to zero. And so even if the timeline, maybe his timeline's right, but even if it's off, the idea behind that, to me, just seems absolutely correct. And I've felt this way since 2017. The vast majority of all the cryptos out there go to zero, and I just think that they haven't yet because it's simply not sufficiently clear to speculators which cryptocurrencies deserve to be here. If it were sufficiently clear, then a lot of these coins would have actually gone to zero. And fair enough, just to speculate that maybe most of them don't come back. Maybe that's true. But still, they are here, and it's something. And maybe social media is a big factor for, just the fact that there's communities around this. It's reasonable to surmise that perhaps that's having some sort of notable impact. But either way, I just say you let this stuff play out. Most of it goes the way of the dodo, which, by the way, is a fun fact, my favorite extinct avian creature. But Dan Morehead, he's no fly-by-night individual. I mean, he actually created, so again, Pantera Capital, that's the first ever crypto hedge fund in the United States here. He's definitely worth listening to. And his perspective, which it always strikes me just even keeled. Like, he gets the big picture, even in times where, you're in bear territory or even starting to get out of that and people are not feeling so hot about crypto and people get mad when you say positive things, even in terms of potential price action. XRP, $5.80. Get the hell out of here. And then you'll hear stuff like, well, can we just wait for it to get $1 first before we start talking about $5.80? And my answer to that is no, because the analyst is talking about where he thinks it's going to be, and there's no sort of requirement, nor should there be, that XRP must get to $1 before we can talk about it being higher than $1. But anyway, no, I appreciate the perspective here. And also, as I've been saying a lot lately, if you care about XRP in terms of price action, you should definitely be interested in about what's going to happen to Bitcoin in terms of price action, even if you don't hold it, even if you're not excited about it. As I record this video, though, XRP is at 50 cents, Bitcoin's at $27,683. So what I got on the screen right now is a XRP price chart over the last 7 days just on Live CoinWatch. And you can see, if you're looking at the screen anyway, it just fell off a cliff. The price of XRP visually, it fell off a cliff, and then it's been moving roughly sideways since then, getting as low as 49 cents. But that doesn't mean there's a problem with XRP, most certainly not. Look at this 7-day chart for Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin also fell off a cliff. It was over $28,000, and then it cratered on down, getting as low as, $27,410? And again, it's $27,682 as I'm recording this. So it fell off, XRP followed, and it's been moving sideways since. This is not an XRP problem, just to be super clear. The asset class moves in tandem. That's all that it is. And so that's why when I see headlines like this one from the Crypto Basic talking about 50 million XRP moving from an exchange amidst this 3.79% price drop, I don't want to read the article. I just wanted to make a broader point because there were some people speculating, might this have had something to do with it? And to me, that doesn't make sense at all, given that you have perfect correlation for the downward price action for Bitcoin and XRP. And typically, I mean, like, where do you think this is going? Is there any sort of actual proof that this XRP moved somewhere, like perhaps to another exchange, and then it actually was sold? Well, no, the proof doesn't exist anyway, but it is what it is. And so, look, I am not one of the people that say, ugh, we're not going to talk about higher price XRP until it hits so-and-so low price. Like, no, I've never been like that. I've seen those comments so many times, and I understand to some degree. I have sympathy when I see this on social media because some people, I get it. They're just frustrated. They wish that XRP were higher than it is right now. But come on, man. So here's the headline from the Crypto Basic. XRP finalizes a correction from $1.90, poised to hit $5.80 as five-wave structure concludes. And they're covering perspective from Dark Defender, is the analyst I was citing at the outset of the video, now with 94,600 followers. So his reach growing tremendously, especially recently. And I don't know if he's right. I don't know if he's wrong. I hope he's right, though, because XRP is my largest individual crypto holding. But I thought I'd share this perspective because it's fascinating. And so he wrote the following. And this is an XRP USD chart for those of you looking. XRP finalized the correction after $1.96 and had the wave 1 at 91 cents. We had completed wave 2 with a slight risk to the wick final point of 39 cents. The price above the weekly Ichimoku clouds is getting closer. We will experience how bullish XRP will be above it. And I'll just pause to note that the Ichimoku is my favorite Pokemon. Then he also writes, there are two Fibonacci targets in the short term with wave 3, which are $1.88, so strong, and $5.85, not financial advice. So again, that's where he thinks it's going. And I've said this, even outside of technical analysis, I still believe firmly that utility matters and will win the day. More money is going to just get thrown into crypto in the future. There's almost no humans on the planet are in crypto, and we still have a over $1 trillion asset class. It peaked during the last cycle over $3 trillion. Almost no institutional money, relatively speaking, is in crypto. Most of it's on the sidelines. Like, where do you think this is going to go? Which is part of the reason it's so exciting to be in crypto when almost nobody's paying attention, because, and I've said this many times, I firmly believe this, at some point, trading XRP or investing in XRP or crypto in general, it's going to be as boring as investing and trading precious metals. Gold, silver, so on and so forth. That's how boring it's going to be. But we are far off from that. We are so far off from this. But the more time passes, the more clear it is that this isn't going anywhere, and even the naysayers, they all end up coming around, and they're going to have to. It is obvious that it's here to stay. And so again, as long as XRP continues to be functionally used to, what do you think happens as more money falls into the space? Which is why, even on days when price goes down, I'm as cheery as can be, because I understand the bigger picture. And it doesn't matter if it's not happening on the timeline that I'd like, so what? I'm a grown-ass man. I'm not going to be pouting about this stuff. The only thing I will bitch up a storm about sometimes is the fact that the SEC did what they did, attacking XRP holders, and that did result in XRP being the only top 10 crypto by market cap that last market cycle in 2021, as everybody was feeling euphoric about Bitcoin, well, pretty much any coin. XRP is the only top 10 crypto by market cap from that point in time that didn't hit a new all-time high. Now, that does burn my biscuits a little bit, but it's not like there's a problem with XRP specifically. So I'm being a grown-ass man about it, and I'm just going to be patient, because that's all I can do is precisely nothing. So I do precisely nothing. At least it's easy to do nothing, right? So there's that. And Dan Morehead, like I said at the outset of the video, he's so even-keeled on this stuff. I really appreciate his perspective. I think he's just one of the people that gets it. He just looks at data, comes to conclusions based on data. For him, it's not very hypey at all. It's just not what he's putting out anyway. It's just data. Here's his perspective based on the data, and he just states things in a sort of matter-of-fact type of way, and I appreciate that, because I'm a logic, data, and reason type of guy. And I think that XRP and crypto in general, it's sufficiently exciting. We don't need the crazy hype. Because, like, even if you consider the idea of $5.85 to be, for XRP to be hypey, even if you do, like, I just respectfully disagree. Like, to me, that seems like a pretty tame expectation. Because if we're talking about XRP actually persisting into the future and existing, if it is one of the ones that's going to be around, that seems like nothing. Right? I mean, I know I'm not the only one that thinks this, but that's, I think it's a big nothing. Talking about $5.85, like I said, some people get grumpy hearing positive sounding numbers. It just seems impossible. But it always seems impossible until inevitably one day it just happens. And either you have exposure to the asset when it happens or you don't. But to me, it seems like a virtual certainty. And yes, of course, I always acknowledge I could be wrong and XRP could go to zero. I know that I could lose everything. This is true. I just don't think that's remotely probable. And Dan Morehead doesn't seem to think so either. Piece reads as follows. Pantera Capital CEO Dan Morehead thinks Bitcoin's uninspired price action over the previous 2 years has just been a temporary deviation away from the top crypto asset's larger growth trend. Morehead says in a new interview with CNBC that he expects Bitcoin to resume its explosive price gains soon. And here's a quote from him. Bitcoin has a 14-year trend growth of 145% a year. That's kind of my general forecast. It'll just restart that, and every year it'll more than double. End quote. And so, folks, that's in a general sense what has happened. So every time after we've had a bubble form and then pop, and then Bitcoin's cratered on down along with everything else, including XRP. A lot of people panic selling at those moments, but it always comes back because it obviously should. So yes, people get exuberant, price gets ahead of itself, and you see that. But then there are always new people with each cycle, and I consider myself one of these people when I jumped in 2017 towards the end of that bubble inflating. It was a weird time for me to happen to have jumped into crypto, but it was in headlines anywhere, so that is what attracted me in. But there are always going to be people like me who, even after the bubble pops, like, okay, got it, came in at a weird time, but this thing ain't going away. There are people that get it, and I'm just one of many. Not that there's something special about me. I'm just making a broader point that there's a certain number of percentage of people that do jump in and they get it, and then they are there. They stick around with every single cycle. So you're always going to have more people jumping in over time, even after massive pullbacks. And so just because the last couple years, roughly, haven't been as fun and exciting, it's been pretty negative with the mostly downward price action. And even for this year, while it's been broadly up, I mean, fair to state that too, okay, but still we're nowhere near all-time highs. But even with all of that, it's very clear that we eventually get out of this stuff. It's an inevitability, virtual inevitability, as far as I see. Piece continues. Morehead says his view is that the blockchain sector is in the midst of a 20-year secular bull market. He predicts that Bitcoin's upward arc will eventually level out when everyone owns it. Folks, that is something that I've been saying for literally years. And it's just this idea, and I know I said it a few minutes ago too, but that's why I was thinking about it. Because eventually, everybody's going to be in XRP, they're going to be in Bitcoin or whatever cryptos are going to have staying power. And when that happens, when everybody's already in it, it'll be almost impossible. It'll take forever. You just get a price to double, just to get a 2x. But given that we're so early on, no, we are nowhere near, not for XRP. And I do think most of the people that were ever going to achieve life-changing wealth from Bitcoin, they've already achieved that. But to get Bitcoin, to purchase enough Bitcoin to where it's going to be meaningful, in terms of changing someone's life at this point, I mean, if you're talking over like a really, really long time period, I guess it could, and then it's subjective as to what is considered life-changing. It's very subjective. But I think a lot of people are, when they talk about life-changing wealth, a lot of people are thinking in the terms of millions. And it seems just obvious to me that the coins like XRP that have less money in them are the most likely to offer that, which is why XRP has always been the sweet spot for me. It's a coin that's been around for over a decade. It's been battle tested. But even though it's a large cap coin, there's almost no money even in large cap coins, generally speaking. But you don't have that as much downside risk as you would with a brand new coin or something that's a small cap coin, perhaps with little or no utility. That to me, and there's almost no liquidity too. Like good luck with exit liquidity, even if a price jumps up. That's why to me the sweet spot has always been not Bitcoin, but also not the small cap coins. To me, it's just been XRP. To me, that is the perfect sweet spot. And so I understand as more money flows into crypto, large cap coins across the board will not necessarily be the sweet spot for those that want life-changing wealth. But I still think it's the case here in 2023 because there's almost no damn money in it. That's pretty much it. All right. Anyway, piece continues. In terms of other asset classes, the CEO thinks equities are currently overvalued. Real estate is coming off all-time highs, and allocating money to bonds is pretty dangerous. He predicts equities will go down for the next few years. And here's a quote. That does leave a couple of asset classes, like real commodities and blockchain. Blockchain is a $1 trillion asset class. Most institutions have essentially zero exposure right now. They should dial it up to a couple percent, end quote. Exactly. And that is what's going to happen. The more time passes, the more institutional money flows in. And even if you're just talking about 1 or 2%, if you're that ultimately means trillions of dollars flowing into crypto. So, look, it's been a 14-year journey for the asset class. All this type of stuff seems impossible forever, for long periods of time, until inevitably it happens, and then it just goes. Can you imagine a decade from now, reflecting on 2023, and then XRP never hits at least $5.85? I don't think that's a particularly high bar. Can you imagine that? I mean, I guess it's possible, like I said, and I'm not making a price prediction because I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just saying, like, if we don't see that, I would be very surprised, wouldn't you? Which is why, for me, I'm just going to keep making sure that I do precisely nothing. I just want to have the exposure to the asset class, and when it goes, it goes. And if Dark Defender's right and we hit that perhaps sooner than later, fantastic. But eventually more and more money flows in, and that's just how it works. And it's the same concept is true with the stock market. Either you have exposure when those moments happen, or you don't. And I have made my choice. And we'll see what happens. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.